Hey, Scott Radigan here with a quick HIPAA update. And this is one of the most frequently asked questions that I get from a day-to-day basis from my members. And so I've counseled most of them on this, and now it's time to share that information with you. So the question in question is, does the HIPAA allow you to email your patients? Can I email them? And the answer is from HHS is a qualified yes. Um, I would say it's a qualified no from me. And so we'll talk about the differences right now. So HHS has an article first printed in 2008, last refreshed in 2013, that says, yes, the privacy rule does allow you to email patients even for health issues and treatment plans, which would traditionally be PHI. Now, unencrypted email is not prohibited, they say, and it's allowed if you want to do it. However, they also point you back to following the reasonable safeguards that you have to do under the privacy rule. They point to a specific section of the privacy rule, and that's 164.530C. But then they also say, and you should be cognizant of your responsibilities under the security rule, and they point to the whole subpart C of CFR 164, and they say, follow the security rule when you're going to do this as well. So for me, and if it was my practice, and this is what we do at my wife's practice, I counsel her and her workforce to not communicate any PHI for sure with patients via email. And so always do that through your EMR and your patient portal. There's a few reasons for this. And there are some exceptions, but there's a few reasons for this. One is email is unencrypted for the most part. And now there are some email providers that say that their emails are encrypted up to 90%. But that's not the default. You have to get the HIPAA compliant version of that email and have that email service provider like Google or Hotmail or Outlook or whatever you're using these days, get them to sign a business associate agreement, because now they have and they archive emails with PHI on them. So now they have to safeguard that information as well. So another reason is that when you start typing in an email address, for most email service providers, they autofill email addresses. And so I've done this just through various business or personal emails where I've tried to send an email to John Doe, but I ended up sending it to John Deere, right? Just quick. I was going quick and I sent it to the wrong John. All of a sudden you've got a HIPAA breach on your hands. So you don't want to be sending PHI for sure, in my opinion, through encrypted email, encrypted or unencrypted, because of that possibility as well. We're only as good, the technology is great if it's encrypted, but usually the cause of HIPAA breaches is human error. So I wouldn't recommend it, but if you can take the appropriate safeguards and train your workforce to do the same, HHS says there's nothing prohibiting it, but that won't be a great defense if there is an unintentional breach via human error. So another point to make is if patients request that you send them information via email, you can do that, but I would have them sign a consent form that says, I agree and I understand that email is not secure, and I'm okay with that. I consent to the use of email communications for PHI, as well as I said, there's some exceptions. So if you're using an encrypted email service provider, usually you have to pay a little bit extra for it. You can certainly send appointment reminders and some administrative things like, hey, we had to reschedule, or hey, this is a cool class that we've got coming up in our practice, like take a look at it. That sort of thing can be sent via email. So long as you are using the appropriate safeguards under the privacy and security rule. If you don't know what those are, reach out to us at Functional Lawyer, keep following us. But if you do know what those are, keep on doing well in your practice and using the security rule standards, the privacy rule standards, and doing your periodic reviews and self-audits of both your policies and procedures for privacy rule, security rule, and all of the requirements that are entailed with those two things. So can you email patients PHI over email? Technically, yes, but from a risk benefit perspective, I'd recommend 1, getting an encrypted email service provider, 2, only sending PHI, treatment, or health issue information through a second layer, only through messages in your EMR or EHR through the patient portal. And just make sure that when patients request emails, whether that's for emails that contain PHI or not, I would just have them sign a consent that says, yes, I'm aware that I am waiving the right, or I'm requesting that you send this unencrypted, and they have the right to do that under the privacy rule. But again, there's more than one rule at play here, and the ability for human error to kind of blow this out of the water is high, in my opinion. So if it's treatment related, keep it in an EMR. Definitely spend the money. It's not that much extra to get a HIPAA compliant encrypted email service provider. And then, train your workforce on which one is which. PHI emails that are related to treatment and follow-up plans and protocols versus administrative logistical emails that may be more appropriate for your encrypted email service provider. So if you have any questions about any of that, always follow us at functionallawyer.com and all our social media channels. And you can always reach out to me directly as well at functionallawyer.com. And we'll see you in the next video.